The Hills Have Eyes was directed by Wes Craven and follows the Carter family as they head west to California. On the way, they meet a shaky old gas station attendant who does the best he can to give them proper directions.
You got to stay on the main road now, you hear? Stay on the main road!
Inevitably, the family gets lost in the middle of the desert and falls prey to a clan of cannibalistic mutants led by Papa Jupiter.
I'm gonna watch your goddamn car rust out. Yes, I will!
The mutants take their names from planets like Jupiter, Mars, and probably the most popular villain in the film, Pluto, played by actor Michael Berryman. His character is recognized for his hulking appearance and bald head, but in real life, the actor suffered from hypohidrotic ectodermal dysplasia, a rare condition which prevented him from developing hair, sweat glands, or fingernails. Given that the majority of this film was shot in the desert, think about how dedicated he had to be to act in this movie without sweat glands. Then you've got the victims. There's Big Bob, played by Russ Grieve, an ex-cop who complains about everything.
Holy shit, Daddy!
All right, everybody, shut up, that's it!
His wife Ethel, basically there for the moral support. Bobby and Brenda, the siblings who are close in age. And the oldest daughter, Lynn, played by the Howling's Dee Wallace, who comes along with her husband Doug and their newborn child. This adds another layer of suspense to the story when the Carters break down. There's also the dogs, Beauty and the Beast. No, I'm not kidding. The film has that unsettling documentary feel, much in the vein of Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Wes Craven's earlier film, The Last House on the Left. However, whereas Texas Chainsaw had that claustrophobic feel, Hills Have Eyes plays with the nighttime scenery. We can hear the villains mutter things to the family members in the darkness. And there's always a feeling that the protagonists are being watched. Toward the end of the film, the mutants even pretend to be the authorities when the son, Bobby, attempts to radio for help.
Hello, listen. We're under attack. I don't know who. They killed three of us, and they kidnapped a baby.
Okay, now hold on. Stand on your heads with your thumbs up your ass.
Oh, Bobby.
There's a real sense that the odds are stacked heavily against the heroes, especially seeing as how their RV is stuck in the wide open. The mutants have definite home field advantage. They live in these caves in the mountains, so they have no problem keeping tabs on the Carter family. They can communicate back and forth with walkie-talkies and coordinate their plans. Yes, they don't just sneak up behind unsuspecting family members and tear them apart, but they put together this elaborate strategy. First, while the gas station attendant is telling a story, Papa Jupiter suddenly crashes through the window and kills him. Big Bob tries to escape, but because of his heart condition, he doesn't make it far, gets captured by Jupiter, and nailed to a cross. Mars and Pluto sneak into the RV, where Pluto barks out an odor that results in Big Bob being set on fire. This catches the attention of the rest of the Carter family as they go to see where the screaming's coming from, giving Pluto an opportunity to rape Brenda, and Mars a chance to kidnap the baby.
I come back for you later, girlie.
This is where the film becomes a revenge plot, much like with Craven's Last House on the Left. Doug, grieving over the death of his wife and his kidnapped child, takes Beast into the mountains to hunt the mutants. Bobby and Brenda set booby traps around the RV and attempt to lure the mutants back. It gets pretty intense, with even the dog taking out one of the mutants. I was going to save the remake for a separate review, but I honestly don't have a whole lot to say about it because, essentially, it's the same exact film with a different cast. The remake of Hills Have Eyes came out in 2006 and was directed by Alexander Aja. Interestingly, it was produced by Wes Craven, who was inspired by the success of the Amityville Horror and Texas Chainsaw remakes. I have to be honest here, as far as horror remakes go, this one's pretty damn good. I saw it in the theaters with my wife, and it terrified her so much, she had to leave the theater. That's how you know something's screwed up. The main difference with the plot is that it gives further background on how the mutants came into being. Basically, the film blames the United States atom bomb test sites. When the government was relocating American families, certain ones refused to leave, allowing the nuclear fallout to transform them all. They did a great job casting the human characters, even getting most of them to look identical to their 70s counterparts. The mutants, on the other hand, underwent a major upgrade. The mutants in the original more or less resembled savages, looking as if they actually belonged to a hidden tribe. In the remake, they're much more elaborate. I guess being the leftover product of a nuclear testing site would do that to you, but goddamn, these are some of the strangest creatures I've ever seen in a horror film. However, it actually makes the film that much more macabre. Usually I don't like when a horror film becomes more disturbing, and it definitely didn't work for Jason in the Friday the 13th remake. But given the intense nature of Wes Craven's original, it's appropriate here. Obviously, it's a lot gorier. When Big Bob gets blown up, they linger on his body getting burnt to a crisp. Something as simple as someone getting shot ends up much bloodier. The rape scene is also much more intense. I know rape scenes are difficult to watch in any movie, but it can make a horror movie that much more effective. This was the scene that had my wife leaving the theater. The mutant holds a gun to Lynn's newborn's head as he takes advantage of her. The ending sequence where Doug goes to look for his baby is the real winner here. Whereas in the original, the protagonists lured all the mutants into the open, in the remake, Doug has to creep his way through a deserted town and sneak past deformed sentries before taking on this big guy. It looks like Sloth from Goonies. It's very suspenseful, taking us to a place that the original just couldn't take us. Aside from that, like I said, it's pretty much a scene-for-scene remake, so take it for what it is. Seriously, I would recommend watching both of them side by side, because the remake really does do the original justice for a change. Either way, both are just as terrifying.